I cannot understand why anyone wanted to go back to the wake up in the morning and find out what chaos faces us sort of lifestyle that Donald Trump being president requires, but we're there. Because yesterday, the daily chaos was that Colombia apparently refused 2 deportation flights from the US. So they didn't want Trump to send migrants to them in a plane. They wanted to send their planes here and pick them up. And because of that, he immediately threatened 25% tariffs that would be jacked up to 50% almost instantly. And he was super excited about that. And he did it in a very presidential way. He posted it on Truth Social, a Dear T social media site. So he says, blah, 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 blah. He's got some insults against Colombia and its president or whatever. And so he says, that's an emergency. If we can't get these 2 planes through, America could very well crumble by Tuesday. And so we need 25% tariffs on all goods. In 1 week, they'd be raised to 50%. A travel ban and visa revocations for their government. Visa sanctions on their government. Every Colombian national, just regular people flying in with the right documentation, would now be harassed for some reason. And banking and financial sanctions against them instantly because they didn't take in the 2 planes or whatever. And so the Colombian president initially said they would reject the flights until a protocol was created that would treat them with dignity. And the president said a migrant is not a criminal and must be treated with the dignity that a human being deserves. That is why I returned the US military planes that were carrying Colombian migrants. In civilian planes, without being treated like criminals, we will receive our fellow citizens. That's literally the only issue they had, was its military. And that was why Donald Trump wanted to start instantaneously a trade war with them. And so he then threatened to raise import tariffs 25% to the US as well, saying, you don't like our freedom, fine. I do not shake hands with white enslavers, which is kind of fighting words in a diplomatic sense, I suppose. Now, eventually, they came to some sort of agreement, I guess. And I don't know who to trust coming out of that. Trump is of course gonna say, I made them bow down to us. And they're gonna say otherwise. But it kind of would have been bad, if they didn't want to take them in that particular plane and now we kind of don't have trade with that country anymore. I'm sure that Donald Trump, JR, saw this as an opportunity to send a strong signal to other countries. And I think he has. I just don't know if it's necessarily as positive as he thinks it is. And for the regular people, and then we'll discuss, here's why this is bad for you. Now, maybe you think this is just something to ignore, but if he followed through on it, Colombia apparently makes up like 20% of the coffee we import, just to focus on one particular topic. And AOC rightly attacked Trump on Twitter for this, saying to punish Colombia, Trump is about to make every American pay even more for coffee. Remember, we pay the tariffs, not Colombia. Trump is all about making inflation worse for working class Americans, not better. He's lining the pockets of himself and the billionaire class, which is totally right. Now, that's one product category from one country. Now, I want you to think about the tariffs he's promised against every country, particularly China, Canada, and Mexico, where a significant portion of everything that we buy comes from, and also many of the places we sell our products to, and they're gonna have the same sort of tariffs. How is any of this good for regular Americans, including MAGA Americans?
Not at all. This is the other part about this. This is why even prices will change based off of just these threats. There's a preparation and a process that has to go into effect when things like this happen. I know we speak very flippantly about it in this country because we're ignorant to the way a lot of things work because we're not educated on it. And even with stuff like tariffs and trade and business and models for how people, get their stuff across and paid for. It's not like I'm some kind of economist or business expert, but I think it takes about 5 seconds of thinking to realize that just because someone says, I'm gonna slap a tariff on you, that it doesn't just happen. And then after it happens, everything just starts flowing just normally. And then suddenly everything changes. The threat of these things, the possibility of things happening, people have to prepare for it. So when they prepare for it, those prices already go up. So they don't have to go into effect. We don't have to see whatever foreign leader has to drop a knee to Donald Trump before we see the downsides of it. So we may say, look, it just worked. He threatened him and now he's changed his tune and gone back to what we wanted to do. Bro, and your coffee prices still go up. Eggs are damn near $10 already. So listen, you can keep thinking that things happen in a cartoonish way because Donald Trump keeps presenting them to us like they're in a cartoon, but this is the real world. You notice he's still going on rallies. He's still going to rallies and he's been elected president. He's been sworn in. He's implementing his fascist agenda, but he's going to do rallies because rallies convince people to not think about what he's doing, but think about how he's making them feel while he's doing them. And then when you turn around and go to Walmart and your coffee is $10 for even the little Folgers small one, you're gonna be upset. And I'm not sure who you're gonna blame. That's the only thing left. I'm not sure who you're gonna blame.
Well, not Trump, presumably. I mean, we're trying to get through because I actually care about the economic situation of every American, including conservative Americans, including those who voted for Donald Trump. So I'm trying to get them ready for what's gonna happen. I tried to have them avoid it by not having Donald Trump get elected. For the rest of them, the more hardcore MAGA, since I'm not gonna get you to understand that this is inevitably gonna lead to higher prices, I don't want you psychologically to suffer. So I'd like you to prepare right now the arguments you're gonna make as to why it's good, why it's better that we're paying more for these prices, because you're gonna be sending those tweets out in like 6 months. You're gonna be writing those blog posts. You're gonna be like trying to explain yourself to family members. So don't wait until then to figure out why it's better that you have to pay more for everything. Start working on those arguments now. I think that'll help you out in the long run.
And by the way, John, I just want to highlight another aspect of this, which I know you already went over. It was the Colombian president or the Colombian leader was like, listen, treat him with dignity. Like send him on commercial flights or whatever the normalcy was. By the way, the Biden administration has been doing deportation flights already.
They have been.
He's putting them on military planes so it can look a certain way. It's constantly about this domination over other folks and this militaristic approach to everything. That was the difference. But they'll pitch it to you to make you think that he was just going, no. Instead, it was, you're gonna treat people like with dignity and respect. And that's reasons why they got mad at that bishop that begged for Donald Trump to start doing that, because the narrative and the normalcy then has to be violence, authoritarianism, anger, and dominance over other folks. And if you don't do it, and if it doesn't look like we're sending a military plane with folks on it, then we don't want it. And we're gonna threaten tariffs. This is the normalcy, pay attention to it.
Hold on, JR. Now, it's been a bit since you've been on the show, and I have a commitment to fact. So you just stated as a fact, the only reason he's sending them on military planes is so to look a certain way, but that's not true. He's also doing it because it's much cheaper to do it that way.
Yeah.
Sorry, no, I forgot how math works. It's way more expensive, way more expensive to send them on those planes than civilian ones. Every part of this is stupid and wasteful. MAGA people, when will you get it through your skulls? When you click the join button and become a tier 2 member, you get access to all of our weekly top 10 lists. What are you waiting for?